Hello, all you delightful creatures, and welcome to the Laughing Fox Tarot. Welcome back if you're a returning viewer. I have for you all today yet another pick a card reading. The theme of today's reading will be guided by these gemstones, and the question that we're asking today is a bit more open-ended. And I love these sorts of questions because it kind of just gives this space of spaciousness, which is asking the question of, what does spirits wish me to know right now? You know, what's pressing thing would spirits like me to know? So I've invited my spirit team here to help guide along this reading and to help guide any messages that your team may have for you. We'll hop right into the crystals. We have today over pile number 1 is some tiger's eye. Well, let me make sure it's getting into focus. Slowly but surely. Well, maybe not. Well, at any rate, it's very lovely. It's got this nice copper band around it. Next we have some very gentle Snowflake Obsidian. Nice dark obsidian with just some very calming splotches of this white snowflakey. Here we have some Labadorite, which I adore this stone. It's got this sheen, this iridescent. I wish it would focus a bit better. Hold on, let me try tapping this. Just making the whole thing go wiggly. It's got this iridescent sheen right here, and it always reminds me of like dragon scales. See if I can get it to. And lastly, we have some blue Kyanite. This piece is interesting. It's traveled from my mother to my cousin to me through like a different, like I wasn't supposed to be getting this, but it was like packaged with like some containers that my cousin gave me. And I was like, oh, I love this thing. And it's such a cool crystal. It's got like those browns in there, but like it's blue, but like it's got like the browns from the earth, the earthy materials. I mean, it's all earthy materials, but you know. And then like these like rigid lines going through them. It's very fun. Okay. So in a moment, we'll hop right into the reading. Now would be a good time to tap into your intuition to pick a pile. However you wish. I like to do a little guided, just quick breath, where I will close my eyes as I take in a nice deep breath. And as I exhale, I'll open my eyes and allow my eyes to be drawn to whichever pile or piles may have a message for me today. Alright, well with that, I will see you all in your readings. You can check the timestamps down below to find those readings, and I will see you there. Bye. Alright, start with the intention for today's reading. Breathe in. Asking Spirit today a question of, what does Spirit wish me to know? What do I need to know right now? I invite any of my spirit guides into this space to help assist with this reading. Bring light and inspiration. Again, answering the question of, what would Spirit like me to know right now? Get some cards for the piles. Oop. A little sneak peek at that one. Oop. Oop. And oop. Let's go this up a little bit. Again, asking Spirit. A couple cards for each pile. Everyone's getting a little bit of a sneak peek today. Get a bunch of cards. A little bit more of a sneak peek. Sneak peeks for everyone. That's what Spirit's offering today, is a sneak peek. 1, 2, and 3. Some Traveler Oracle, Sacred Traveler, that's the one. Sacred Traveler Oracle cards. Just some Sacred Traveler Oracle cards for each of the piles. This one tickling my finger right there. Hard to other cards. Oop. Power of Love activation. That's the one. I'll just call these the heart of the cards. I think that should be good enough for now. I feel bad. Pile 4 didn't get a sneak peek. Got nothing for that. Just perhaps, who knows? We shall see. I feel like pile 4 already knows. Oh, they know, they know, they know. And they'll get to... It's gonna be like the confirmation pile, I bet. I bet just anyone who just needs like a little bit of like... just a nudge. We'll see. Okay. Hello, pile number 1. If you chose this Tiger's Eye crystal, then this is your reading for today. We'll connect in a little bit with the energy of the crystal first, which, again, today we're asking the question of, what would Spirit like me to know right now? And with Tiger's Eye, I've read the meanings of the stone multiple times, and it is not stuck, because the only thing that ever sticks in my head when I hear about Tiger's Eye is that song "Eye of the Tiger." It's the eye of the tiger, it's the will of the fight. You know that song. So all I can ever think of when I see this stone is staying in the fight, right? Like being a champion. And so that's like just the message I immediately get whenever I think of this stone, whenever it comes up for me, is just sticking through it, even if things are tough, right? And remembering that the tough things that we are facing along the way are part of the journey, part of the challenge, part of what makes it fun. And I know it doesn't always feel that way when you're in the challenge, but it's, if everything were easy and simple, it probably wouldn't be worth doing. So I'm going to go ahead and set that lovely Tiger's Eye right up here. We're going to go ahead and dive into some of your cards. We'll start with the, differently, I wanted to start with a bit of spaciousness, because I'm trying to connect more with this deck here, which is the Spacious Tarot. And I love how open its imagery is. Oh yes, this one was peeked at during the shuffling a little bit, kind of popped out. So we have the Explorer of Wands. And here we have, and I'm going to get this wrong, I don't know if that's a newt, I think it is a newt. We have a newt here who's cradling a wand, and there's like a big fiery conflagration, is that? I don't know why that big word was coming out, but there's a lot of fire in the background, and it looks very, it's kind of like a defensive look to it, like it's been spotted and it's ready. It's like, do I fight, what do I do? And it's in that moment of which way is it gonna go? And I feel like you're there right now, right? You're just like, which way am I gonna go? The Eye of the Tiger is already here to tell you, you're gonna go for it, so don't worry about that. There's a lot coming up for you right now, though, and that's okay. There's a lot of there's a fire here. There's a lot that you're feeling, and if it's not immediately, if this is something that's coming for you, which I'm feeling, it's definitely feeling very immediate if you're not already going through this at the time of this reading. But if there's something coming up for you, there's that fear. There's that fear of how am I going to react, and how have I reacted in the past. But you're on this journey, and the way that you've reacted before does not dictate how you will react in the future. No, they are opportunities that you've learned through. They are your prizes that you've fought for, and while you may have things that you've deemed failures in the past, right? They're all part of the journey. Nobody succeeds by doing everything right the first time. It just doesn't happen. Every journey is full of pitfalls and missteps and setbacks and challenges that we didn't feel the most equipped to face, but we faced them anyway, in our way, and we have always the choice to face them in new ways. But I'm already seeing right out of the gate, this is not something that you need to worry about, and that's why it's coming up first and foremost. Is whatever else there is going on, it's that fear of it being the same. You don't need to worry about that. You're not gonna have a problem with this. We'll head over to the heart of the matter. I always like to pull these out pretty early. Freedom. Ooh. You're releasing any self-imposed restrictions or perceived limitations through the loving energy of openness. Freedom. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the book for this one. I take out any chance I can to read from these, because I just love hearing them, frankly, and I love sharing that with you. Freedom. Here, can you read that? Pull up a little bit more. Sorry, the mosquitoes are coming out. I have to encourage them to go elsewhere. You're releasing any self-imposed restrictions or perceived limitations through the loving energy of openness. Your natural state of being is one of the boundless freedom and joy. Don't suppress your God-given potential by weighing yourself down with other people's opinions or expectations. Get in the daily habit of setting the intention to be yourself and allow yourself to love who you show to the world. If you present a false face in order to feel accepted, you're doing a disservice to your soul and its mission. Embrace the freedom to be you, because anything else is giving away your power. But don't neglect the necessity of self-reflection and contemplation. Engaging in introspection affords you the opportunity to see your actions clearly and from a different perspective. When you begin to view your life objectively, an incredible feeling of empowerment and freedom overtakes you. In this awareness, you are able to identify how you reacted to the various situations. Were your responses ego-based, or did you demonstrate compassion for another? Knowing this, you can be vigilant with respect to your reactions to any situation. This card doesn't mean you're at liberty to behave badly or with judgment. Instead, it gives you the freedom to let love and compassion be your guide. You are the sum of all positive, negative, and neutral experiences and behaviors. Good, bad, or indifferent, they have made you who you are today, so honor them all and learn from them. Gosh, I love this book so much, and it sometimes goes on like totally related, but tangents related from it, and that I just never quite expect. So, you know, as I still get more familiar with this deck, I'm just like, oh, okay, we're going here. But there was that part about your responses. You know, what were your responses based on? And that's kind of where that fear is from, because there has been a period of time in your life where responses were based off of just reactionary, right? Where they were based off of learned responses and maybe not as helpful ones of ways of dealing with things, of ways of allowing yourself to be yourself and to not give in to the demands or needs of others, right? Not to make yourself whatever other people needed. Taking that freedom now for yourself to be yourself and not worrying about what others are going to think or how they're going to react, because it's irrelevant. Going to pull out a Sacred Traveler card. Transformation. Okay, yeah. Freedom, transformation. A fresh new way of living emerges, right? So this is all about some part of your own self-expression, and these are parts of yourselves that you've felt the need to hide away. And as you have been expressing them more, it's been difficult. You've been through it through your whole life, right? You've been through it in terms of maybe the amount of pushback that you felt, the amount of resistance that you felt, and just the amount of how little the world seems to reflect you sometimes, how it feels like that. You know, because the phoenix, right? Like one of a kind sort of creature. And that is such a difficult thing when you are so different from the norm. And it doesn't mean that that's any better, right? But when just the things that you want, the things that you do, the way you express, when all those things are so different that you don't really see yourself represented anywhere, it can become almost like you're being gaslit by the universe, right? Because you just look around and you're like, oh man, there's something, the thought that can occur is something along the lines of, like, I must be wrong because I don't see me anywhere else. I don't see my opinions. I don't see this or that, right? And that's when we're looking outward to allow ourselves to be ourselves. And that's when we're looking outwards, right? To what's the word? Give ourselves permission, right? We want to see ourselves somewhere else, to be able to like look at that and be like, oh, it's okay to be ourselves now because we see it somewhere else, but we don't ever see that. Not even close. I'm hearing pile number one, not even close. You don't get anyone close to you. You've had people at least that have like share similar, like some similar like thoughts or this or that, like bits and pieces, but you are just like, everyone's unique, sure, but here on Earth, like there's plenty of people that are perfectly happy to just live more within like the means. Like that's not the more like there's an average, and there are people that are perfectly happy to live that sort of life. And I'm not saying that it's average or lesser life, just in terms of self-expression, or just what their aspirations are, just whatever, and so by nature of like averages, like there's just a lot more of that than there are of you, and that's okay. But it's that kind of place, right? It's the kind of place of just like, man, I can't be myself because there's no one else like me, and therefore it's not acceptable. I apologize, these mosquitoes are just getting up in here. I think they're going for the camera too. Yeah, so that heat's, there's a lot of heat. Oh gosh, there's so much fire here too. And that's like the thing too, is not everyone is so bold, not everyone is so like woof, right? That's just not everyone's thing. It's not a lot of people's thing, and that's okay. And that's in terms of like what people like, because if it's not, you're not going to be liked by everyone, right? You're not going to be liked by everyone. I that is something that Spirit is wanting you to hear and hear again, and I know you've heard it and you're hearing it again, and it'll stick eventually, right? It's sticking, which is, you're not here to be loved by everyone. That is, in fact, it's kind of a weird way to phrase this, but like if you are finding yourself universally loved, then probably you're not being you, right? Probably you're not saying the things that your spirit wants you to be saying, right? That feel right to you. That finding yourself a little bit in that people-pleasing place, which can happen so unconsciously, because as much of this beautiful, majestic creature that you are, there's a lot of love in there, and it's very easy when you have so much love to find yourself in a place where you're wanting other people to feel good more than anything. But this is you. This is for you to feel good more than anything, and you know that. Let's pull your tarot cards. We have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, there's the imbalance here of weighing. There's been that imbalance of weighing, your own needs versus others, and what you consider fair. It's like there's a whole need for, it's been going on with this Explorer of Wands, and Eye of the Tiger. It's been going on, right? But this is you. You've been reaccounting, like, what am I worth? What am I worth, and what do I owe to others? What can others take from me? What can I handle from others? What can I accept from them? There's been a lot of that going on. The Seven of Cups. You've been trying on a lot of different things lately, and that's okay. That's good. And there's a little bit of a feeling here of maybe letting yourself down with the Seven of Cups. Here, see, they're trying on this mask here. I should probably make sure that's focusing. Okay. They're trying on this mask here, and they have like their own like skull just like off to the side here, and they're like trying on other things. And there's a feeling of getting the sense of these two cards that you are letting yourself down a little bit. There's a bit of harshness here, right? And as much as like the first part of this reading kind of focused on the like be yourself sort of message, there is a worry here I'm hearing of like not knowing yourself and thinking that like you haven't, that the times where you do try on different personas, try different things on and explore yourself, right? That it hasn't been okay. But that's all part of rediscovering yourself, is you will try things on and you will come to realize like that things are acts or masks, and it's like in that realization that like that's when you learn something about yourself, like, oh, that wasn't me, I just acted like that, and why did I act like that? And then you learn more about yourself, right? That sort of introspection. And so this sort of work is absolutely essential for you. It's okay to try things out and to say, I like this or I don't like that. And it's not always a comfortable place to be in. That's where that fight is still coming in, right? Where it's just like really just at the end of the day, just like, man, who am I? What do I like? What am I? Am I everything? Do I love everything? Do I hate everything? Like, but you don't. You have your likes, and it's hard sometimes when you're around other people to retain yourself. But that's part of the journey. That's part of the journey of growing from that place, of going through that transformation. And those ups and downs are all part of it too. So you're not doing anything wrong. You're not failing. You're not bad, right? You are good. You are trying and exploring. You are lovable and whole and right just as you are, as you are discovering yourself. Here we have the Queen of Wands. Oh my gosh. Very lovely. We've got all the way from the Explorer of Wands to Queen of Wands. So much fire energy. Here you are. Not literally, but here you are, right? You're sitting here. You are vibing. You are not asking for approval for anything that you tried. Like this flowery hair bonnet that you've decided to try on today. You didn't ask a single soul whether or not it was okay for you to try this out. You are just vibing in your into your truth. The thing that actually kind of jumped out at me that though before I even like started going on that was this cat here. Was this cat, and this is kind of, that this is Spirit saying not to beat this message into the ground, because I'm at risk of doing that, but to say there is something here with this cat, and cats may be important to you or significant to you in a way, but this is a particular this like symbology, the not necessarily the black cat, but the outcast cat, right? Because oftentimes black cats are seen like they're put on the fringe. They're something to be mistrusted. They're a sign of bad luck, those sorts of things, which totally, they're such, as any cat, they can be lovely, or I mean, as any animal they're lovely, but they'll have their own personalities. So, I'm getting on one hand this cat being a representation of you, but also we're in this reading, and it's kind of meant to be more ended, and this one is about, and the message I'm getting for this is that there is a particular spirit guide who would like to connect with you, and they take the form of a cat. That was a weird dancing around to say that, but that's what I was trying to get at. Right? Because this reading is about what would your spirit guides like you to know right now. This is a part of yourself that maybe you don't explore as much. I think you've heard about it, or maybe you do, but you've lost a little bit of a connection with that part of yourself. And this is just that part of yourself calling out to you once again, saying, if that's something that interests you, if that's something that you feel connected to, because it's not everyone's thing, but if it is your thing, right, there is more of a deeper connection that's being like offered here with this at this time, at any time, but just kind of coming out right now is that like desire for a deeper connection to that particular part of your spiritual side. Yeah, that just jumped out at me because these cards really, all of them kind of just went with that same note, right here, your freedom, your transformation. I think that was kind of just like a little slipped in on the side of, well, while we're here, by the way, there's somebody that wants to connect with you on the spiritual side of things. So if you feel called to that, however you would engage with that, writing, meditation, taking a walk outside, right? Whatever your way of connecting. Okay, beautiful, lovely, unique, just amazing brights, pile number 1. This is all I have for your reading today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please leave a like on the video and perhaps let me know in the comments of how you connected with this video. If you found yourself drawn to any of the other piles, you can go ahead and hop over to those right now. Otherwise, if you would like to support me, I got these out of order, but whatever. If you like what I'm doing and would like to support me, you can check out my coffee in the description above. Below, yeah. And, yes, you can check out my coffee in the description. I do offer personal tarot readings, as well as I do make some handmade runes, which you can check out there as well. Otherwise, you could just donate if you felt called to. Otherwise, now that is all. I will see you next time, whenever. Okay, bye, file number 1. Hello, pile number 2. If you chose this Snowflake Obsidian, then this is your reading for today, which I have just dropped. My apologies. Set you safely right there. I'll actually connect with the Snowflake Obsidian before hopping into the reading, which again, today we're asking the question of what would Spirit like me to know right now? And connecting in with the energy of this Snowflake Obsidian. Obsidian is often a stone used for like clearing of negative energies. Sometimes these cleansings can be rather rough, right? They can be really feeling like going through it. The Snowflake Obsidian is here in a time when a gentler approach is needed, when a soft bubbling up of like the things kind of that are beneath that hurt, right? Those hurts. The Snowflake Obsidian comes when like those things, yes, like they need to come up and out, but just gently and softly. It's a very gentle releasing of negative energies. And so it's going to preside over this reading. I'm going to change it up a bit and start with the Spacious Tarot, because I really love how like the big open space these cards can create. And we have the 8 of Wands. Okay, so there's a lot kind of going on right now. There's a lot, and maybe not feeling a bit overwhelmed, a bit like you can't quite make out the forest through the trees. Is that how the saying goes? Right, there's a lot going on, and processing all that's going on right now is quite difficult. It's just too much, and very much kind of was already getting that with the Snowflake Obsidian coming out. Like there is just so much going on right now, and really, like Spirit is asking like to take a deep breath. Like it's not your fault, right? You're not doing anything wrong. Life is just like this sometimes, but it's during those times where it's good to just take a deep breath, take a step back, to remove ourselves a little bit from the situation and be like, okay, that's a lot, but like, that's not me. Maybe have a cup of tea. I think I will. There's a lot going on right now, and maybe you're feeling a little bit like out of your depth, or like you can't handle it all, and maybe a little bit lesser because you aren't handling it all. But had you stopped to consider that it's not all yours to handle? These 8 of Wands, they resemble like shooting stars, the wands like going through the sky, and you see like the comet trails. Do the comets need you to direct them through the sky, to tell them when to grace you with their presence? They don't need you at all. Let's pull the heart of the matter here. Virtue. You acknowledge your loving spiritual attributes that encourage others to grow. Ooh, I just love the colors on this one with like with that blue, which is kind of just, it's a very bright like virtue, justice. There's this very strong feeling of like justice, and like that shines, and like that's like you are unable to step down. It feels like if you sense a wrong, right? Regardless of the situation, regardless of your personal involvement or attachment to it, like there is just this like inability to step away from saying something or doing something about it if you sense something is wrong. And that's a very beautiful thing, but it can also be a lot, especially in, with the worlds and how many injustices may be about. Let's go ahead. I always love to read from this book, and any opportunity I get, so we're going to go ahead and read from here. You're making great strides in your spiritual evolution, and others are beginning to look at you as a role model. You employ the kind of virtues of kindness, service, and compassion in all your interactions. You've learned to send only those thoughts that support and encourage. Leading by example, as opposed to preaching, is important to you. When you live in this physical dimension with an awareness of the bigger picture, a steady calm permeates your life. Others are able to recognize this aspect of you and drawn to you for counsel. Your work on this planet is also admired by those not currently incarnated, and you are receptive to their guidance. Being a conduit for spirit and manifesting love in all you do is the greatest accomplishment of your Earth journey. When this card appears in any spread, it is the most powerful message that spirit imparts. This is the card of the light worker. What was I saying about you being in it? Truly are like a paragon of your virtues, and know very strongly where you stand, and it kind of gets you into a little bit of trouble, right? Because where do you bend when you know so strongly of where you stand? And only you can answer that. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of these cards. Grab the Sacred Traveler Oracle card. Staying focused, hold the course. Right, we have something here. See that distance that I was talking about? A little bit of distance. The bigger picture was mentioned here too in this card, right? There's that distance, and see, they're watching the stars from a distance, and they're observing like, oh hey, that's neat that's happening. That's not me. That's not because of me, and that's not necessarily my thing to deal with. Or maybe it is, but there's like that contemplation, right? Oftentimes, right, people look to the stars not only for guidance from like the astrological standpoint, but also like the practical, like the like practically like where is certain bodies. Like people say, I just got this weird message of like, this is somebody who's watching for like meteorites, for like danger, right? And imagine if this person jumped at every like thing that moved or made any like sort of thing in the sky, like how exhausted they would be if they were just if they were just like leaping at those things. Sorry, you're gonna see me bat mosquitoes away. I'm recording a lot later right now, and they are still out in force. Right, so there is that sense. Just imagine if this person were reacting to every little thing that came into their purview. How overwhelmed and maybe distracted they would be towards being able to do anything else in their life for themselves that they need. Let's go ahead and pull your tarot cards. We have here the Five of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, and the Moon. Interesting. Okay. with the Five of Pentacles, I'm getting kind of reinforced here. There's this outward looking that is happening a little bit with you standing so firmly in this place of your truth, of justice, right? There's this outward focus, maybe because it is looking out into the world and seeing where can I make a difference, where can I make things better. And there's a little bit of a feeling of self-abandonment here, of maybe your own needs not being met as much as they need to be. And it can be hard. It can absolutely be hard when you look out into the world and you see all of these things that like seem to be crying out for you, right? Only you might feel only you can make a difference. But again, remember what this card said about others like seeing you standing up and seeing and like being empowered by that, being and like people who haven't even been born yet or may not even be incarnating here on Earth, just anywhere like at this relative time, like are inspired by what you're doing. And so, this might be this feeling of like, I must stand so steady and not budge an inch, or like this will never change, when really you just standing at all is what is making it change, is what is inspiring others. You are an inspiration to others in all that you do. And I'm saying that lightly because I feel like you would take that and be like, oh yes, now I must really be like just perfect. But no, you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to you don't have to show up for anything ever that comes into your way. You have the responsibility really to yourself. There's responsibility to yourself to pick and choose your battles. Save up your strength for those really important ones. Allow other people to fight their battles too, right? They've seen you stand up. They're ready to take the charge too. I'm surprised I didn't get any of like the mid ones here, because these always come up. I mean, late ones. Yeah, no, actually, that's about it. Yeah, because those always come up for me in these cases where it's just like, this is the opportunity for your hard work to pay off for others, right? For literally the work you've been doing to benefits other people's growth. And if you're in a position where you're constantly fighting everyone's battles and like standing up and being that person, like those people aren't always going to get the opportunities to do it for themselves. You've raised the standard. You are making your declaration. Now some people can start picking up the slack, and they're safe to you. You will not be losing the fight. You will not like lose grounds. No, in fact, if you take a little bit more time to step away, focus on a little bit of your own needs here, right? Then you might be very surprised to find out what rises in that space when you step back a little bit. I'm getting a very calm, right? The moon here, just kind of just sitting back and watching. Being delighted at what you see, right? Maybe you haven't seen an actual shooting star in some time, right? Maybe it's time to take a sit outside and literally take a pause and just watch the sky for a bit. But literally also, but figuratively, doing that in your relationships, in the situations around you. You take a step back and sit. If people call upon you, right? If a situation forces yourself into, something that you have to deal with immediately, obviously, take care of what you need to. You have that. You definitely like have that under control. But otherwise, if you see a fire and figurative fire, right? It doesn't need you to put it out. It's not yours. Take a step back and see what happens. You might be delighted to learn that the people that you thought that couldn't take care of themselves, that wouldn't, that this or that, are now. And who did they learn it from? They learned it from you. All right, pile number 2. This, I suppose, was a shorter reading. I don't really see much else here for you other than to say, like, and I feel like that's very much because of this card here. I know you've got a lot going on, and I know that this is maybe just another thing onto the pile. But that's probably why I'm feeling the need to call this, like, right here to say, like, this is it, you know. Take a breath, take a step back. It's okay. Things aren't going to fall apart. In fact, be prepared to allow yourself to be delighted in what you see as you do. All right, lovely pile number 2. If you were perhaps drawn to another reading, you can go ahead and hop over to those now. I hope you found, gosh, I've been doing this backwards so far. It's fine. If you found this reading useful, helpful, if you liked it, please leave a like, perhaps a comment down below letting me know how you connected with it. If you'd like to support what I'm doing, I have a Ko-fi in the description, where you can either book a personal reading with me or donate to me. I also do handmade runes, which you can find there. Otherwise, I will see you in the next reading, whenever that may be. Bye, and take care. Hello, pile number 3. And if you picked if you picked this Labadorite, and then this is your reading for today, or should I say tonight, as I am swiftly losing any of the leftover daylight. So I apologize if things get a little bit darker during this reading in terms of lighting. So yeah, this lovely Labradorite. I love looking at this thing. It's got, just at a first glance, it looks like this dark stone, which is like, just looks mysterious and just, you know, right here. Like, it just looks, it looks dark, and it's got like some things going on the surface, and then you hold it up and it catches bits of the light and just does this most lovely, like, iridescent. I really could just look at this. I could look at this just all day. And this iridescence reminds me of like scales, of like dragon scales. And when I think of this, I think of like things right under the surface. Like there's just this thin layer over this, like this beautiful and mysterious and just shiny thing right under the surface. Again, kind of tying that into the reading today, which is, we're again asking the question of, what would Spirit like me to know right now? And with that, let's go ahead and dive in. Change things up from what I usually do and start with some of the Spacious Tarot, because I love the amount of space it opens up for this such kind of an open-ended question. And we have the 10 of Pentacles. Also kind of like got that out of darkness sort of thing, that like that light coming out of the darkness for this tree, kind of in a dark landscape. I'm seeing here there's something, right? It's something right under the surface. It's right there sitting with you, but you don't quite. It's not that you don't see it. There's definitely a part of you. Your subconscious is naturally fully aware of this thing, and your consciousness has been like grazing upon it. It's been like planing away. I'm seeing like as if like you were kind of shaving off layers and layers and layers through the work that you've been doing through the exploration, right? And there's just something like right under the surface, and it's to that point where it can be seen, but only if you're looking at it in the right way. And sometimes it disappears again, and you're just like, where did it go? But your consciousness is now like it's coming up, and it's something with the 10 of Pentacles. It's something big for you. It's something big, and it's going to be literally like a huge source of bounty for you. And you've been doing a lot of work to uncover it, but it's still like hanging out there right under the surface. So let's ask why. Get the heart of the matter with the power of love activation. You have acceptance. You're ready to release control of situations or people and lovingly embrace the rhythm of life. I've read this one from the book recently. In fact, it's come up very recently too, but I'm going to go ahead and do that again because I just love these as jumping off points. Action, acceptance, and we are really losing some light here, so I'll do my best. Throughout your sojourn on Earth, you will be presented with many obstacles and lessons that will test you. One of the most beautiful parts of life is its unpredictability. Nothing is permanent. Everything is constantly moving and evolving, especially you. In your life, you can progress faster spiritually by being open to the ebb and flow of events and the twists and turns of your soul companions. The fellow humans on your journey provide. Now is the time to become aware of this gift and acknowledge that these moments are not stumbling blocks but merely opportunities to grow. Although circumstances may seem difficult and worrisome, if you look at the bigger picture and live for the present moment, you can easily follow the natural course of life. But don't let the mindset of acceptance distract you from your ability to change the situations that hinder your soul's growth. You're always in charge. There's a sense here of walking through the dark forest and maybe constantly like banging your head up against things or stubbing your toe. There's this feeling of both not knowing where you're going and like the frustration that comes with that of like wanting to have like that clear destination and that clear way through this dark forest. But it's been that sort of like feeling, which is a very natural feeling, right? You know, you want to get out, to get through, to move past, right? It's that sort of feeling that also is keeping you stuck there a little bit, right? Because then the focus becomes not on the journey so much as it does getting through it. And again, that is such a natural reaction to finding yourselves in these situations. Right? Because it can be hard, it can be difficult, especially in, speaking practically here, if you're on your journey and you're running into people or situations that you don't like, right? That you are not connecting with or don't feel as good about or this or that, like those can be seen as stumbling blocks that are there to be just cursed and like, gotta move on, or they can be learning opportunities. And maybe what a lot of them are telling you is like what you do and don't like. And maybe you are being exposed to some things that you don't like, but that is okay. And that is part of the process. And that is part of getting you to where you want to go. The more you can sit with those things, those seeming like obstacles, which are all lessons, every single one of them, the quicker you'll move through it. It's that very paradoxical, like you slow down to go through it quicker, right? Slow down to speed up, get there quicker, walk, you'll get there quicker, sort of thing. That's sort of the energy coming through here for this. I'm gonna take a pause real quick because it is getting dark that I can't actually read these cards. And so I'm gonna get a little bit of light and then we'll get back to your reading. Let there be light. Yeah, good enough. It was either fire or fairy lights, and I decided to go with fairy lights, so that's what you're getting tonight. Right. So. I feel there is something a little bit here with the whole like lighting and darkness thing, and I totally didn't plan any of this. Like I said, I'm just filming later in the day than I usually would. But there's a sense of like if you were to go through the woods and kind of just like your goal is to rush through it and you weren't stopping for anything, right? You might see the sun's coming down and you're just trying to get out of the woods. And you might just be going, right? And just rushing forward. And if that is like, if that was your goal and you didn't stop for anything, you might not be working most effectively because you wouldn't be stopping to orient yourself or to like maybe make some light to help guide you through, and literally walking through like the dark of the woods and like just kind of bumping into things because you can't see. And kind of what I'm getting here is like these situations that you're coming across are absolutely like the sorts of things that like your particular brand is needed. Your particular whatever it is that you do or believe is being needed in these moments to shine your light onto these things. And this reading isn't here to serve as an indictment or to say like you were failing or any of those things. You were it is not. It is, there's very much a sense here of like of self-protection, and one that has been hard earned, right? Is with like the sturdiness of this tree here, there's like a solid foundation here that is driving you, and it is one that is born of like I'm not going to get hurt again in that way. I'm not going to fall for that. A lot of work that you have done to protect yourself, and I think protection here is what is motivating you now. So seeing yourself in these difficult situations, of course, the natural urge is to protect yourself. The first thing that is coming out here is first off, these difficult situations, they're not here to harm you. They're likely even like a lot of situations that don't really have as much to do with you specifically, but they're not here to harm you, and these are more opportunities for you to really like express the version of yourself that you now know, that you've come to accept and know your worth and what it is that you will stand up for, right? And so these are the moments where you can like shine that light now to really prove to yourself and those around you of like what you are worth, and so you can get that. And it might seem like the best course of action is to like if you to notice these difficult things, to disengage entirely, right? But there is a way to remain present with difficult people and situations and still hold your ground. And in fact, it is having the strength to do that is like part of being the spiritual warrior. And again, this it all comes back to like that work that you've been doing, that planing. You know, when you've got the planer with the wood block and you shave off shavings, that's what I'm seeing, like that work being done. And there is a feeling of being afraid here that is not warranted for the actual amount of like work and strength that you have grown, right? It's that thing that's right under the surface that is there at times and gone again, but it's always there. It's just you're not always seeing that strength, because sometimes when you do leave these situations, you might start to feel like you are scared, lost, alone out in the woods, but you're not. You were out in the woods, the thick of it, and you are vibing strong as that spiritual warrior who knows their worth. But your subconscious might start wondering otherwise. If you are, you know, if you were diverting from these situations instead of facing them head on. And it might just be a matter of setting those boundaries and just being clear and really like shutting them down. There's this reoccurring, right? I'm getting this image of a reoccurring, like it just keeps coming back, and you're kind of like, it feels like you're lost in the woods because you're going to your goal. You've got an idea of where that is, but you just, oh, there's that tree again. And like, no, I've been going straight. Like, how am I back at this tree? How did this tree come back up? Well, it came back up because it wasn't dealt with. It came back up because it didn't get a firm boundary put in place, right? And so those are sending some signals to a part of you that is feeling like, oh, well, then I'm not actually enough, and I'm not strong, and I'm not taking care of these things, and all these knots coming up. Knots in the tree, too. I don't think I can actually light this up very well, but you have to see it from down here. The knots on the tree. When you are strong, you are capable, and you know these things, it is merely like the trees that make you question yourself. Outside of those things, when you are in your own space, you know, you know your worth, you know your strength. But some doubt kind of creeps in a little bit. And again, this is not to say you are wrong This is just kind of a little bit of a nudge from spirit, really saying like, yeah, your heart is in the right place, but you might not be getting the results that you were wanting because of how these situations are being handled. Let's pull a Traveler Oracle, Sacred Traveler Oracle card. And I really think, okay, yeah, this one's gonna need a little bit extra light. There we go. The Gates of Triumph. Success expands in your life. And look, it's that gateway you've been looking for. Like the trees are right there, right? And like there's just that open shining sun. In just going from here, like this just darkness, like I can only see what's right in front of me, and I really am kind of like worried, to just like this expansive energy. And you aren't changing, right? This is not something you are doing. This is not, rather, you and your circumstances aren't changing so much as it is the way that you are handling them, right? And the energy of them shifts dramatically. You will still be coming up against these situations, right? It's going to look entirely different for you. It's just a matter of perspective. It's a matter of seeing them again as learning periods of your opportunities, really, to be yourself. And that shift that it creates in your life when you decide to see them from this different point of view. We had 4 tarot cards come for you. We'll flip those over. We have the 9 of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Swords. We have the Knight of Swords. And we have the Page of Swords. Oh boy. A lot of air energy coming through here. And with the air energy, right, there is a sense of a lot of this difficulty being of the mind, right? Situations that might feel bigger, might feel worse, might feel more unlikable, unenjoyable, are feeling worse because they are your judgment of them, and not necessarily the reality of them. There's a saying, and I'm so bad with sayings, but I'm going to try my hand at this one because I liked it. It's like, often our measure of a situation is far worse than the reality of it. No. It was a lot more concise and it sounded better. But it was something along the lines of that. It was like, a splinter can feel like the world's worst thing if we magnify it and like just put all of our focus on it, and she's like, whoa, it's just it could be this terrible thing, but like really it's just this small, tiny, inconsequential splinter. And that's not to trivialize the things that are going on in your life. It's only to say that like from here they're not as important to you, I feel like, than they might actually seem. Like they might be people come in your life that are that are just you don't enjoy being around them, or you don't enjoy the way that they act or treat you, or this or that. Like, okay, treating you, yeah, but like, it's more of just, there's people in situations that you might not be appreciating as much, and for good reason. Like, there are things that you aren't really about, but like, there's a sense of them becoming a lot bigger than they are or need to be, when, say, it's someone that you don't want to be around, that you can acknowledge that, to set the boundaries, to be like, look, I don't really want to interact with you, and to make the steps to like make to make that like known. Or if there's a problem with them, like to discuss that problem and give the opportunity for them to change it. Like, I'm not saying you should just jump to whether or not you should jump to cutting anyone out into your life. This is more just about like how that is handling. So I'm less trying to give advice on like how to handle it, more of like if they are handled in that way, whatever way is needed, right? Whatever way the boundaries get set up, like it immediately becomes so much less of a problem than it does like this reoccurring thing for you. And so a lot of the struggle is on the mental side of things. It's just thinking about these situations. It's just thinking about, oh man, I really don't want to see that person today. I don't want them to say this or that and, to get me upset, or I don't want to just deal with them or their attitude. Maybe like they're always like down and it's just like depressing to be around them. And, they're, there's boundaries here, and there's boundaries with what you will put your thoughts and focus on too as well, right? You might want these people to change, you might want these situations to change, but they're not yours to fix. You can say your piece, and then you can live and let live. But they're not your responsibility, and nor should they be carried with you, right? Page of Swords. This card, this is very much like, I always get with this one a curious, like half looking, like half, look how they're holding the sword, right? And they're kind of like looking away, but they got like that little bit of a side eye towards it, like they are curious about it. I'm seeing whenever the Page of Sword comes up for me, like there's something being missed because it's not being seen, and part of that is because there's that rushing through the woods, right? There's a feeling, right, of like everyone around me is like no good, or they're no good for me, they're toxic, they're this, that, and I just got to get out of here, man, right? But there's this feeling of like stopping and like actually like looking deeply and like being able to like shine some of your light and see like, oh no, this is actually like something I would really enjoy, and I would have missed it if I had just rushed through. And so there's a stopping and looking back here with the Page of Swords to find the things that are yours out here, to have that light up so that they can find you, really, right? If you dim your light, if you close yourself off and just muddle through to get through to the end, nobody's gonna be able to find you. You will go under the radar. Speaking as someone who has exercised that and still sometimes, unconsciously exercises this like dimming down of myself, like you will just sneak right on by. I've seen it happen so many times for myself, where it's just like I have no idea how I'm just like under the radar, but you have that ability to, but it's not going to get you what you want. Knight of Swords, there is that brash, fiery energy. They can push forward along with the Knight of Wands, but they do know what they want. The Knight of Swords knows what they want, and they are prepared to go for it. So again, this is a re-steering. This is just a nudging, right? Of like, where you're going, but maybe you're not exactly going there exactly the most helpful way right now, right? If it's that sense of like, I know what I'm worth, and I'm not hanging around like this situation, these people, like, good. If you know those people that you don't want in your life and like can take the steps to cut them out, great. Take those steps, but also, don't throw the baby with, oh gosh, I really hate that saying. I gotta think of a better one, but don't get rid of the good with the bad, right? Don't rush through. Don't sell your journey short because there's things in it that you don't like, because there's things in it that you do like. And just as with like that sheen being under the surface, some of them you don't even recognize right now. You do like it because they haven't had the opportunity to like shine. You haven't had that opportunity to really like to really grow, right? With the Nine of Pentacles here, they haven't flourished yet because they haven't gotten the attention necessary for like things to really get off ground. And I can relate a lot here to like this feeling of like just wanting what is worth yours, it is your worth, and like to really be focused on that, to a little bit of a detriment, right? And especially here with the Nine of Pentacles, like that nurturing, the 9 into the 10, right? And allowing yourself to be surprised to find like what you are looking for is out here. Probably you've already like come across it multiple times in your journeys. Right? What you are looking for is out here. It just needs your nurturing. And sometimes, you know, things don't always appear like right out of the gate like how you would expect. And I know there's this feeling that like that like, oh, you know, whether it's you're destined to be love or just whatever situation, you know, like you'll know perfectly, like that is so perfect and wonderful when you see it. And yeah, there are things like that, but plenty of things in this life take some work, and that's okay. We all have faults. If we're looking for faults, we will find them in everyone. And so if like we have maybe we know our worth so much, right, that we are like, okay, we have high demands of the universe, and rightfully so. But we should not forget that we are all fallible humans who are not perfect and accept our faults and things that maybe are not as pleasant. Right? You're ready to release control of situations and people and lovingly embrace the rhythm of life. So you're ready to release control of situations or people. Allow people to be as they are. Allow them to show their true colors in your light. Allow yourself to be surprised by what you find out there in the darkness with your light. Ace of Swords, we have beginnings. There's a lot of potential out here. And it's a lot of potential in things you've already come across. So there may be a feeling of like wanting to seek something else, something different, like none of this is right, this is too hot, too cold sort of situation. But this is Spirit saying like, invest a little bit. The worst, and this is not to say that it has to be anyone or anything in particular, like whether it's a job or just what you do with your time or the people in your life. It's not to say that like that has to be those people, but it is only to say like, in taking those steps to nurture, set boundaries, all those things, those are absolutely what brings you what you want, regardless of who it is. You don't have to worry about that right now. In fact, that's part of what you get to enjoy being out in this darkness, is you don't have to worry about figuring that out. It's not for you to figure out. It's for you to stand as yourself and allow that to draw the people that are meant for you to you. Putting that in another way, right? All of these obstacles, right? All these learning opportunities. How would you handle your perfect situation, your perfect love life, your perfect job, perfect this and that? Whatever. Nothing's perfect, but whatever your like dreams are. How would you handle all of that if something dropped into your lap right now? Would you be equipped with the skills necessary to maintain them, to do the work for them? Because again, no matter how perfect any relationship is, they all require work. And so how would you honestly do right now if they were to fall like right into your lap this second? Would you truly just fall into like a blissful like everything's perfect, or would you suddenly feel very overwhelmed about the grandness of it all, of the responsibilities of it all? And it's not to say, this is again not to disparage work that you have done up to this point. It's only to say like that continuing to like grow these things, to nurture these things, are exactly what is bringing you to where you need to go. And you have done that, and you are probably feeling discouraged right now because you're feeling like this maybe is you've lost sight of it. but you haven't out here. You have been doing the work. You have been learning. Continue to do that. Continue to keep your heart open, because that is the only way you're going to connect with what it is you truly desire. I really want to emphasize here that this is not a admonishment. This is just, just a little bit of a course correction, because it gets hard. It can be hard. It can be discouraging, right? When you've been through it, when you've been in it, when you're in the darkness, and sometimes your own light just doesn't feel like enough sometimes. And that's okay. Nobody ever said it was going to be sunshine and rainbows the whole time. But you've got this, pile number 3. You have put in the work. You understand your worth. Some of the hardest part of the work is just uncovering that muck. Again, like just see how just like right on the surface this stuff is. I wish you could see better in that there was like some decent lighting, but just how much you have cleared away, how much you have worked to understand yourself, to work through what held you back in the past. Pile number 3, I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I do wish you the best of luck and sending you so much love. It can feel scary and alone out there in the darkness, I know. But keep your light to light. And, keep your eyes focused on what you know is yours. Because it is meant for you. I hope that you found this reading useful. If you did, please leave a like on the video, and perhaps a comment down below letting me know how it connected with you. If you like what I am doing and would like to support me, I do offer personal, more in-depth readings in the description down below. You can find it on my Ko-fi, as well as some handcrafted sewn runes, which I use in my videos sometimes. You can find that there as well. Otherwise, you can donate to me if you so choose. If you were drawn to any of the other readings, which, there's never a bad time to get more guidance or support. And if you're feeling called to, there is absolutely more support for you. So if you feel called to any of the other readings, or any readings ever, feel free to hop over there now. Otherwise, I will see you next time I see you, and take care. Bye. Hello, delightful pile number 4. If you chose the blue Kyanite crystal, then this is your reading for tonight now. I have lost all sunlight. It is dark out. The stars are out. The peepers are out. Welcome to your special after hours dark reading. Dark just in that it's, dark out and I have the fairy lights on. That's all. I don't know how visible the cards are going to be. I am recording a lot later than I had intended to. I had to stop earlier because somebody was mowing their lawn. So that's okay. You get to join me in these beautiful, lovely lights. Again, we'll connect with the energy of this reading and this crystal first, as I've been doing with all of these readings. And again, we're asking the question today of, what would Spirit like me to know right now? So with the blue Kyanite, lost much of its blueness at this current point in time. Let's, there we go. With this blue Kyanite, I absolutely adore this crystal. I got it from my cousin, who got it from my mom, and it was an accident that it even ended up in my hands. But it's such a lovely one, and this crystal for me is just such a striking just bold declaration of the self, right? There's a lot of truth in this crystal. There's a lot of just a very honest and open, but like undeniable truth. And as I was shuffling the cards, I don't know if you watched that, but as I was shuffling the cards, I'll put that in the light where you can see it. Each of the piles actually had like a little card that peeked out, like as if to like give a little bit of the reading away of like, oh, what's this reading going to be about? But not your pile. Your pile didn't have any peepers, which kind of made me wonder if like I think you're here, pile number 4, just for a little bit of confirmation, right? Whatever spirit's wanting to tell you, you've been hearing, you know, but like there's just a little bit of a nudge of like, yeah, like that's it, and that's right off the gate. Like there's just a truth. It's a very truth that you know, but you just let's see if we can get a little bit of a nudge here to help you kind of over that edge. Starting my readings a little bit differently here, starting with the Spacious Tarot, because I love how like open of a space they create. Flip that over. Oh, you have Justice. I'll have to lift up the light with each of these. You have Justice. And you have this black and white stone resting so gently on the surface of this water as it ripples out through. There is a balancing act, and there has been a feeling of being out of balance, right? There's a feeling that your approach up until this point has not been very balanced, right? You are kind of wondering, like, when am I going to find my balance, and when am I going to be able to proceed forward in a way that doesn't like send me so off, right? And that sense of when you're in that space of feeling off, like that you are not right or yourself. But this card is coming through to say like what you have been doing is part of your balance, and it might feel tumultuous as it's like you're kind of really in it and riding those waves, and your perspective might be like you're up and down and like a pendulum. This card is coming out to say like that is you, right? The goal for balance is not perfect. Is not perfection. Definitely not perfection, but it is also not equilibrium, right? It is not the perfect stillness of nothingness going on, because how great would that really be if we all just came to just flat, just kind of nothing going on? And sometimes it's hard. I struggle with this especially too, of like the sense of spirituality and knowing like, to not go too far out, right, on either side. But like there is life just doesn't work like that sometimes, right? This sometimes we have extra hot seasons, extra dry seasons. Like life goes out on the extremes, right? It's being able to maintain that center, that you don't get set loose to the point where you don't come back, right? And I think sometimes we can get the sense that like where we should be is like right here. Like we maybe should be like right here. Like this is our straight and narrow true, and like we might deviate a little bit, right? And like that's the goal. Maybe for some people, but the message I'm getting for here, for you for right now, in this like kind of confirmation, like just like a little nudge, is it's about coming back to center. It's about being able to even know your center and find your center. That way, as circumstances dictate, that you can go out here, you can go out here, you can come back. And it's because you know your center now. It's because you have spent time in the extremes that you can understand your center Maybe you were out here for a large portion of your life. And then maybe as a result, you've come out here to balance that out. And now anything but being like here or maybe here, like gets you anxious. There's a bit of an anxiety of like, I'm doing something wrong because I'm like over here, or I'm over here, or even for a moment over here, but then like you come back. And we can be hard on ourselves. We can push ourselves, and we can feel lesser about ourselves. Or we can recognize that like that is part of life and part of life's ebbs and flows, right? And we might at times find ourselves out here and we don't want to be out here, right? But that's okay too. It's being able to recognize that. And again, this that you have worked so hard on, that you have obtained for yourself through this balancing act, through this work, is what allows you. It is that grounding piece that allows you to move as you need to be in all aspects of your life, to be able to be pliable, to be able to be mobile, and to be able to shift as you're needed. Some days a lot is asked of you and you have to push yourself hard, and sometimes you have to, well, sometimes you make the choice to give more than maybe you have at the moment, and you feel a bit worn out, and then you find yourself over here. Like that is natural. You do your best to keep the balance, but life won't. life will absolutely test those balances and scales and push on them. And that's because, it's in that dance, it's in that swaying where the ups and downs of life exist, where things kind of stay interesting and nothing stays the same. So there's this idea here that's wanting to be challenged, right? That is, I think, has been challenged for you for some time, of like, how do I stay balanced? How do I stay in the center? Let yourself go and let yourself be free, right? You aren't this unless that's what you feel, right? But if you've, is that really what you feel in your soul? That this is you. I am this is all that I ever am, and this is all I ever will be, and also I can like do that in this world. We don't have control over factors that can throw our situations off balance, right? We don't have control over a lot of life factors that might require us to do more work, or to take a break from work, or to go out and help this person, or to whatever, right? We don't have control over those things. We do have control how we react to them, and we do have control on our own center and maintaining that amidst the storm, amidst the waves. Apologize, the light's a little finicky. Let's go ahead and go into the heart of the matter here. Discernment. Okay. Yeah, discernment. Have you got discernment figured out, pile number 4? It's not about always being right. It is not about always being right. It is about having that center that you can look into, that you can check into and ask, like, how do I feel about this? And, your feelings don't always match up with the reality of situations, or what something ends up being in the end, no matter how much in touch with your intuition you are. And probably pile number 4, you are often very in touch with your intuition, and so it kind of throws you off a little bit when you are proven wrong, or you appear to be wrong. And that just kind of makes it a little bit more difficult to handle those situations. You are just developing the skill to distinguish love from fear and truth from illusion. You already have that, but the two, it can sometimes be difficult to, that trust can be a little bit difficult to always trust in when it's accepting also that we're not always right, right? It would be great if we had we have a source within us that knows. It knows how we feel about things, and it knows a lot more than like we ever gave ourselves credit for. Especially as we like learn to trust that more, and we're like, wow, like there's really like a deep well and resource within us. But it's not all knowing. It's not always right. And that's okay. Wouldn't be fun if it were. Here we have Breaking Trail. Oh gosh, this one came up recently too. A breakthrough is at hand. Yeah, so you are very much like another one of the piles here. There is something that often gets in the way is you don't really see yourself reflected a lot. I think a lot of what you are doing over here, a lot of what you are kind of having difficulty finding balance on, is because the way you approach it is your own unique way, and the way that you see other people approaching it is maybe in a way that you do not like. Maybe the mentality behind it is it, or like the morals behind it, or whatever. Like it's not you, but you don't see you out there, right? You only see maybe some other people that are over here, or they're like way over here, or maybe even way over here. You know, they're not even registering. And again, it kind of comes back to that past imbalance too, and kind of comes back to like you're looking for people to. You're looking for people to affirm like what you're doing is okay. But when you're breaking trail, you won't be finding that because you're the one at the front breaking the trail, right? If you are waiting to see that person who's like doing the thing that you feel right, that like feels right to you, they're not out there. You're not finding that sort of confirmation because you're at the front of the line. You might see people following along, and you might see people way off in the distance. But there was a reading that very much connected with this sort of thing. So if you felt drawn to one of the other readings, you might want to go ahead and check those out, because this is all about that. But again, this was kind of more of the nudge. This is more of the nudge reading. I don't know really that you need all that much more here, because this is really it. Like this is the thing. You have that center. You have your center, you have your truth. It is yours, and only you can display it to the world. We have the Two of Swords. The Fool. And the Three of Wands. There's a blind spot here. Which I just did a reading all about blind spots. So again, you know, maybe if you're needing more nudges, there's some stuff out here. But there's a blind spot here, but it is self-imposed. And it is because you've spent a lot of time in this space, right? Kind of being a little bit more with like the bigger picture of things, and taking steps back, and you know, spending time like you're over here, and then you spend time like forcibly like putting yourself over here, and that there is like this self-imposed feeling that you've been taking the longer, big approach, where now that can be let go of. This does not serve anymore. This is not necessary. This was a tool that you used to get you to where you are right now. This sort of like kind of narrowing your field. It's not necessary anymore. Things are opening up for you, and things are growing. Things are transforming. Hello, moth. Things are changing for you. The situation is changing for you in ways that you absolutely want and are excited about. You don't see what that is exactly right now. You see your next steps. You see like how to, you see that you are moving forward and how to move forward, right? But you don't necessarily see exactly where you're going, and part of that is because you've been spending so much time out here that you just, you know, need to shift that mode, and that's going to be what eventually brings it, not immediately. And I'm seeing like you have been doing that. You have been doing the work where, like, you know, you find that you are stable. You maybe like do what you need to, whatever you need to. I'm hearing like closing off from the situation, right? With this Two of Swords, like you turn a blind eye to it, right? To find that stability, and then in a way that like makes things feel a lot more unstable whenever anything upsets that. And even if like you interact with it a little bit, it kind of just like brings you like right back out here. But like that's the space that you are now playing in, and it needs a different set of tools. This was necessary to bring you this stability that you now know, and that you now often find yourself coming back to often. The fool's taking the leap. They don't know, they don't have the map. They don't have the next steps planned out, but they're taking the leap because they know, like, they are guided, and they know what their next, they trust in their next steps. And so all of this is to say, like, if you're feeling that tumultuousness, and maybe it doesn't feel as good right now, like, those are the waves of life, and they're yours to ride. They're yours to discern. They're yours to see what opportunities are available to you, and to make your choice. Which one sounds the most fun to you? Which one feels the best in your heart? Pile number 4 with the blue kyanite. I feel like you know all this. This is just a nice little like shove from spirit here for you. It's your truth. It's your truth, and don't let the fact that you don't see other people brandishing your particular brand of truth stop you. Show your truth off. Really just express it very loudly. And eventually you'll see, you know, how many people at least like follow a similar flavor of yours. But, you know, you're out here at the head of the trail. And isn't that exciting? All right. Lovely, beautiful, groundbreaking pile number 4. I wish you the best of luck with whatever you're working on. And sending you so much love in your journey. I hope that you found this reading useful and helpful. If you did, please do leave a like and perhaps a comment down below letting me know how you connected with this reading. If you like what I'm doing and would like to support me, I have a Ko-fi in the description where you can either get a personal reading or you can donate to me. I as well have some handstone runes, which I use in my readings sometimes. But you can find out more information there. Otherwise, if you connected with any of the other readings in today's reading, or just anywhere, you can go ahead and hop over to those now, and I will see you over there. Bye.